Good morning, everybody. David Husson here from davidhusson.com. Just wanted to reach out, say good morning. It's Thursday. Today is the 13th of September 2018. And first thing I want to talk about really is, I want to really hope that we can all reach out and help anybody that's going through this horrific hurricane that's coming and approaching the east coast of North Carolina towards Wilmington. And, obviously a lot of people's lives are going to be affected by this. And so most importantly, let's just keep those people in our thoughts. I know there's been a strong evacuation there, and many of the people have already left that region. And of course, for the ones that decided to stay behind and face the challenge, we wish them well, and hopefully they'll come out on the other side of this storm. It kind of reminds me of something that's important to talk about, really about the storms of life. What comes up in our life unexpectedly, or, we're going down one path, it's beautiful, it's sunny, the weather's great, and all of a sudden this storm starts to come at us. And, in many instances, we can kind of get ahead of the storm and get out of the way, or we can sit, embrace it, and take it on and see how we come out on the other end. I think today it's most importantly about how we think about what happens in our life and those storms that approach us unexpectedly that can change and form our direction or shape the destiny of where we're going in our world. The reason I'm talking about this is because recently I started a new direction in my life, and I'm learning some new things that are going to really kind of redefine and shape the direction of my future, my business, number one. Number two, it's going to really get me to think outside the box, something I haven't done in a long time. I think in life sometimes we get a little complacent. We get a little we get in our comfort zone, and our comfort zone is that place where we live. It's that world. And sometimes the comfort zone can be really nice for some of us. For some of us, it's just a safe place to be. Right now, I'm going to be getting a little bit out of my comfort zone. I haven't done a lot of these videos on YouTube, and you won't see in Facebook. So these are kind of my introduction videos. And it kind of brings me back to something I went through about 20 years ago when I started working with Tony Robbins. I had been going through a tough time in my life. I was in the real estate and mortgage industry. Interest rates were very high at that time. Business was very tough. So I started looking around for some additional work to do, and of course what I found is I stumbled into an opportunity to go work with Brian Tracy, one of America's foremost speakers on the area of sales and leadership development. Subsequently, I went out and interviewed with a gentleman, a seminar promoter out of Dallas, Texas. His name was Jim Kaufman. Jim Kaufman was somebody who had a lot of confidence in me. He felt that I had the capability to really go out there and teach people success principles. Excuse me. So he hired myself and my brother. We went to work with Jim. And what was very interesting, I had never done any public speaking. A matter of fact, it was the thing that catapulted me into really becoming one of the top promoters in the country, working with some of the foremost speakers like Tony Robbins, Og Mandino, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins, and the list, Les Brown, the great Les Brown, Norman Schwarzkopf on leadership, John Maxwell, Dr. Jim Lohr from the Sports Psychology Institute. And, what was interesting is that during that time, we really had an opportunity to take undeveloped skills and turn them into something to where we could go out and teach people success principles. And it was within that time frame that I learned some very valuable lessons about really the process of growth. And it was interesting, when I was hired with another guy by the name of Greg Nahay. And Greg was, he's just an amazing guy, very bright, he had a photographic memory, as I recall. And they had given us I don't know, like a 10-page script, and they said, you know, here's the presentation. You've got to go out and learn it. And this was on a Wednesday, and you have to go on Monday and give a presentation in Orlando, Florida, to a computer sales organization, and you're going to tell them about our seminar. But you have to memorize the script. Well, of course, the way we trained in those days were quite different than we train today. You see, we had to get up and go to our peers, and we had to give a presentation to our peers. And we had to, these are people that were doing the script and they were following it, and they were out there in the sales industry and giving professional presentations. What was interesting is I got up and I read my script and I went, "Hi, my name is David Husson, and I want to thank you for having me here today. I represent Brian Tracy's seminars." And I was horrible. I mean, I was like the worst presenter you could ever have imagined. And of course, Greg comes up after me, and he talks, and he says, he throws the script down on the desk. He just takes it and he doesn't even look at it. He goes, "Hi, my name is Greg Nahy, and I just want to thank you for having me here today. And I'm so thrilled to be able to talk to you about the upcoming event with Brian Tracy. How many people here know Brian Tracy?" Well, of course, I had a meltdown because I couldn't imagine that I could be anywhere nearly as good as Greg or any of the other guys on the team. Because you see, I had a fear of public speaking. So it scared the hell out of me. Well, anyhow, long story short, I embraced it and I just kind of went through the motions. And to share a quick story, the very first presentation I went on, I didn't have a choice. I really couldn't turn back. You see, I made a commitment, and that commitment was you get out there, you get in front of the group, you share the story, do the best you can, regardless of the outcome, just go do it. Well, of course, I went out there and I did the presentation, and I walked in front of the group. The sales manager introduced me to a sales organization. In those days, we used to integrate these presentations into a free information session that we'd integrate into a sales meeting. And the way we promote it, we're going to come in and motivate your people, inspire them, and get them to the next level in their profession and help them grow. When I gave my first presentation, and this is going to sound funny, but I was so nervous, I was so scared, my butt cheeks were clapping like this. I was shaking so bad, and I thought everybody in the audience could hear my butt shaking. And I was dying. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Anyhow, long story short, I sold tickets to the event. I broke through. I got somebody to listen to me, to take action, and to go forward and go to Brian Tracy's seminar. Well, of course, that was the launch of my career as a public speaker. Over the next couple of years, we went out there and gave literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of presentations into organizations all across the United States, speaking to companies like IBM, Cisco Foods, just numerous financial organizations, real estate companies. And that really catapulted my career into the professional speaking industry. Within 2 years, I had left and went to Tony Robbins companies and was brought in there to initiate a campaign to start developing an internal marketing campaign, another area I had no experience in. But you know what? What I learned is that when you take action in something, it doesn't matter what you know or don't know today, because a lot of times growing is just the experience of doing. Because you see, we have to go out and do. There's never any certain outcome that you're going to get when you start on a path. Just like when I started speaking, I had no idea. I went out there and became one of the top salespeople working for Brian in that organization. We sold thousands of tickets to seminars. Just to give you a little perspective of when I started, in my tenure working in that industry, we put over 500,000 butts in seats across the United States in every major market. I eventually migrated back into working internally at Robbins' organization. We started a clean new initiative inside. We took on the process of doing internal marketing. I had to hire telemarketers, develop scripts. You see, but here's the interesting thing. I was able to take the skills that I learned from my presentation outside of the company and bring it inside and teach other people how to go out there and how to connect with people in those companies. That really gave me a step up in learning how to do it, because you see, I did it. When we were in the field, we were sales guys. We'd go into a city cold and we'd pick up a yellow pages, or we'd get a list from the book of lists uh, from the local chambers, whatever. And we'd call these sales managers and we'd introduce ourselves and we'd have to send them out a fax. We didn't have technology. We didn't have internet. We didn't have email. We didn't even have cell phones. So it was the act of doing that caused us to create our success. Now, the reason I tell you that is because we live in a modern world today. It's a whole different ball game. We're not using day timers. In those days, we used to use Franklin day timers. We had regular landline desk phones. Matter of fact, if we were calling across the country, our phone bills used to be into the tens of thousands of dollars. Today, you can pick up this little old item here. You got your computer, you got your schedule, you got your phone, you got your voice memos, you got your emails, you got your marketing materials, you got everything in one central location. I carry it around in my pocket, and of course, I get to go out there and do business. How exciting is that? Well, for many of us, that's pretty easy. For some of us, it's a little complicated too, because we don't even understand the capacity of what this little tool can do for us. Look at me here. I'm sitting in the confines of my home. I'm in my office. I'm making a video. I'm recording it. Within a matter of minutes after I finish this, it's going to be posted up into YouTube, transform over to Facebook, and be exposed to millions of people. And you know how much that cost me? Zero. It cost me nothing to do that other than my time and taking the initiative to do it. You know, it's so interesting. Has this ever happened to you? You start off on something and you go to work, you want to get in shape, you go to the gym, or maybe you just want to walk the dog, or you just want to be a little more patient with people. And you go through these processes, but all of a sudden you start to see yourself going back to some of your old patterns. Well, that's what we call the unconscious. That's just the subconscious behavior we have. So just like my subconscious behavior was when I was out there speaking, I was not succeeding in my life at the level I wanted to succeed. Matter of fact, I even thought of myself as a failure. I said, man, I can't make it happen in the mortgage business, the real estate, but yet I was hired on by a company to go out and teach people success principles in business, how to go be a professional salesperson, how to list, how to prospect, how to follow up. You see, what's interesting is a person making $250,000 versus a person making $25,000. That's a 10 times difference in income. And you may know people like that. I know when I used to go into these sales organizations, the old 80-20 rule, there was always the 20 percenters, and there was the top 20% of the top 20%. Those are the people making $250,000 and better, working in the same company, selling the same products in the same industry during the same economic times, selling at the same pricing to the same customers. But yet they were making 10 times the amount of money. How come? Well, you see, what I came to learn is that these people weren't 10 times smarter. They weren't 10 times better. They were just fractionally better. They were just fractionally more efficient. They had better prospecting skills. They had better time management skills. They had better follow-up skills. They weren't afraid of no. They were into better processes in their business that helped them to achieve that 10 times growth factor. And really, I think what we're doing here in the world of marketing and online marketing and Facebook marketing and social media marketing, you don't have to be 10 times smarter than me or the mentors that I work with. Look, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is what you need to think about, what I need to think about, is that we're one and the same, right? And if you think I'm not scared to death doing this stuff every day, you know, my ego, I've got to keep it intact. I've got to make sure that I don't get in my way. Instead, I've got to get out of my way so that I can go out and make a difference in people's lives. You see, I look at my values. My values are most important to me. What's my biggest value? Learning, contribution, giving back, education. These are the things that drive me. I love this stuff. You look around, there's my library over there. Okay. You look at right now, I'm going through a course called The Master Keys to Success. The Master Keys, this is the philosophy of Clement Stone and Napoleon Hill, Og Mandino, who wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World. Now, I'm not going through these books because I haven't read them. I've read these books for years. But now what I'm doing is I want to go back and I want to reshape my thoughts. I want to redefine my thinking in a modern era where social media marketing, where video training is important today. Just, try to redefine the way I do business. And it's really not an easy process all the time. It's challenging. It's challenging. What are you going to do today that's going to make a difference in your world tomorrow? That's the question. So I always got to ask myself, am I sticking to my plan? Am I doing the things that are necessary? You see, I always use the analogy. It's like wanting to lose weight and get in shape. You watch a commercial on TV, you see this beautiful woman, she's at the gym working out, she's sweating, and all of a sudden you go, man, I'm 30, 40 pounds overweight. I think I want to go join the gym, right? You get down there, you meet the trainer, the guy signs you up, the woman signs you up, and says, if you come in here every single day and spend an hour in this gym, you do cardio 3 times a week, you do machines 4 days a week, and you sit there and you plan this process, what'll happen to you over the next 6 or 7 months is you're going to transform your body. Now, here's what happens. You run down to Macy's and you go buy yourself a little nice workout outfit. And that workout outfit is a nice Nike brand uniform, okay? And you go put it on and you walk into the gym and you're sporting your new Reeboks and your new Nike shirt and outfit. And the first thing the trainer says, he goes, okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to get your heart pumping. We need to get your cardiovascular working because you've been lethargic. You haven't been doing the things you need to do to have a healthy body. So in order for us to metabolize you correctly, we got to get you on the treadmill. So let's go do 45 minutes on the treadmill. And you're all excited. You're motivated. You're going to get in shape for the first time in a long time. And you're feeling good about it. So your motivation level is way up here. But all of a sudden you get on that treadmill, and what happens is after about 30, 40 minutes, you're huffing and you're puffing, and you're going, and what happens is your motivation level goes from here down to here. Excuse me. So you can see that the process of being better, more physically fit, being in shape, isn't always easy in the beginning. It's going to be a struggle because you see, you have to rebalance your system. You have to you're building muscle. Right now, what you're doing is you're building mental muscle. Mental muscle is like physical muscle because you have all this unconscious stuff that's back in here that's firing off in your conscious mind that holds you back from getting to where you want to be. So I'm super excited to be here today to really kind of initiate this launch. And, I don't know where it's going to land in 5, 6, 7, 8 months, a year, 5 years from now. I kind of have an idea where I want it to go. And one of the things I'm going to do in my process in my master keys is really to get it wired. We got to rewire. We got to interrupt the patterns of our life, and we have to do what we say we're going to do. And you know what? I'm no different than anybody else. I make excuses for things. I'm going to take responsibility. You know, I do take responsibility for making excuses for things. I'm part of a group right now called Triple Play Marketing. I'm working with a woman by the name of Diane Hockman, and it's called My Lead System Pro, and she's training us on really how to go out and do internet marketing. This is my first video, by the way, I'm doing, and I'm hoping it's going to make an impact on you. And if you watch this and you take the few minutes to watch it, I'm thrilled. I'd like you to just go down here. Where is it? Down there somewhere? There's a button that says like. If you just like my video, that's fine. If you don't like it, that's okay too. I'm not here to create a specific outcome. I'm just developing a process. I want you to kind of keep an eye out for me. And, I'm developing a base of people I want to work with. And this base is not people that are going to learn from me. We're going to learn from each other, number one. Number two, this base is going to be like a mastermind. You see, in the books, The Laws of Success, this one here by Napoleon Hill, just so you understand something, this book here is, if you want to see how much, look at the print, okay? There is approximately there's about 1,100 pages. Let me just put it that way, okay? In this book, he talks about the mastermind, because the mastermind, this book was developed off the principles of Andrew Carnegie when he started U.S. Steel. You see, he knew nothing about making steel or selling steel, but what he did is he created a mastermind around him. And that mastermind was people like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, some of the greatest industrialists of that time. Andrew Carnegie went off to become the wealthiest man in the world. He was worth about $400 million, and he commissioned Napoleon Hill to go out and write the books on the laws of success. It took him 20 years. This book was actually published in 1928, and it's really become the foundational principle of people being successful. Okay, the success principles of life. So it's kind of the Bible of success. It's where everything kind of evolved from, with W. Clement Stone, who owned Combined Insurance Company and went off with some of the greatest forward-thinking people, and guys like Jim Rohn. All these guys took from these principles and went out and became just magnificent leaders in their industries, and touched millions of people's lives just based off this little book here. Out of here came the book Think and Grow Rich, which later was published, became one of the most sold books. And of course, people like Og Mandino. If you haven't read any of Og's book, he wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World, Master Key to Riches. It's a great set of read. So, these principles are timeless. They worked in 1928. They worked around the turn of the century. They go back into the 1800s. And of course, they work in 2018, 19. And they're never going to go away, because you see, the foundation of what success is about this attraction formula that we have within our brain. It's what we used to refer to as the law of correspondence: from within, so without. Our inner world corresponds to our outer world. So that's what this is really about. And we're gonna be talking on this subject matter. And this is going to be a little lengthy, this first one, because I just wanted you to get a feel of who I am. But I want you to kind of check in every now and then and see what I'm going to be doing, because every day I'm going to be posting something, and it's going to be on a topic. And these topics can be anything from, oh my goodness, power, cooperation, the mastermind, Going to be talking about the mind, the value of what we do, history, the laws of success, and philosophy. And we're going to talk about the first topic is going to be about the mastermind. And to me, this is the one right here. Okay. Um, what does it say? Time is a master that heals wounds of temporary defeat and equalizes the inequalities and the rights and the wrongs of the world. There's nothing impossible with time. So we're going to talk about the mastermind. And with that said, I just want to say thank you for checking in with me. I'm very excited. This is my first one. Again, go down, click the like button, and please subscribe to my channel here at YouTube. Check me in on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/David Husson Training. Also check me out on Twitter at David Husson. And with that said, thank you again for checking in, and we'll catch you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.